More than 4,000 years ago, somewhere beyond the Nile, a line of exhausted men disappeared into the desert. They weren't soldiers, they weren't merchants, they were miners. For weeks they crossed one of the hottest places on Earth with only enough water to survive the journey. Their destination was a place few people had ever seen. A mountain that hid something more valuable than an army: gold. Not enough to fill a treasure chest, but enough to build an empire. Many of those men never returned home. Some died from thirst, others from collapsing tunnels. Some simply vanished into the desert. Yet the gold they recovered changed history forever. It decorated the tombs of pharaohs, paid for massive temples, and turned Egypt into one of the richest civilizations on Earth. But here's the mystery. If these mines produced so much gold, why can't we find many of them today? Ancient texts speak of countless gold mines. Kings sent thousands of workers to dig them. Entire expeditions were organized to reach them. Yet over thousands of years, the roads disappeared. The camps vanished. The tunnels collapsed. The desert slowly erased almost every trace they had ever existed. Today, archaeologists are still searching, because somewhere beneath the sands, the greatest gold mines of the ancient world may still be waiting. This is their story. Long before paper money, long before coins, long before banks, there was gold. Unlike iron, gold never rusted. Unlike copper, it never turned green. A piece of gold buried for 3,000 years could emerge looking almost exactly as it did the day it was crafted. To ancient civilizations, that wasn't just unusual, it seemed supernatural. Gold became the color of the gods. It represented eternity, power, and immortality. The richer a king became, the more gold surrounded him. Temples were covered with it. Crowns were forged from it. The dead were buried with it. Gold wasn't simply wealth. It was a symbol that connected rulers to the divine. As civilizations grew, so did their hunger for gold. The problem was, gold is rare. Finding even a small amount required enormous effort. There were no machines, no explosives, no maps showing hidden deposits. Only experience, patience, and luck. Ancient miners searched riverbeds for tiny flakes. They watched where streams carried heavy minerals. When they believed a mountain contained gold, the real work began. Using little more than stone hammers, copper chisels, and fire, they slowly broke apart solid rock. Sometimes they heated the stone until it cracked. Other times they spent weeks digging only a few meters. Every basket of rock was carried out by hand. Every fragment was crushed into powder. Every grain was washed in water, hoping tiny pieces of gold would remain behind. It was one of the hardest jobs in the ancient world. Yet generation after generation, people kept returning, because somewhere inside those mountains, fortunes were waiting. To the ancient Egyptians, there was one place unlike any other. A land beyond the southern frontier, dry, rocky, almost impossible to cross. Today, we know it as Nubia, but thousands of years ago, the Egyptians called it something far more revealing: the land of gold. For centuries, caravans disappeared into its deserts, carrying food, tools, water, and hundreds of miners. They travelled for weeks under temperatures that could kill an unprepared traveller in days, all for one purpose: to bring back gold. Not because Egypt lacked wealth, but because every new pharaoh demanded more than the last: more temples, more statues, more jewellery, more treasures worthy of the gods. And somewhere beneath Nubia's mountains, the answers lay hidden. But bringing back gold was only the beginning. Every expedition into Nubia was carefully planned. Royal officials recorded supplies. Soldiers protected the caravans. Scribes counted every worker and every piece of gold that returned to Egypt. Nothing belonged to the miners. Everything belonged to the pharaoh. Deep inside the mountains, the work never stopped. Before sunrise, the sound of stone hammers echoed through the valleys. Workers crawled into narrow tunnels, barely wide enough for a single person. The air was hot. The light was dim. Every strike against the rock was a gamble. Same tunnels revealed rich veins of quartz filled with tiny traces of gold. Others led nowhere. Days, sometimes weeks, could pass without finding anything valuable. Still, the digging continued, because one successful discovery could supply enough gold to decorate an entire temple. Ancient inscriptions tell us that thousands of men worked in these mining regions. They built camps, storage houses, workshops, and wells to survive in one of the harshest deserts on Earth. Yet despite all this activity, a mystery remained. Where were the richest mines? Ancient records describe enormous amounts of gold, but many of the places they mention cannot be identified with certainty today. Some have disappeared beneath the desert. Others may still lie hidden, waiting to be found. And that is where the greatest mystery begins. History has a strange habit of hiding its greatest treasures. As centuries passed, the pharaohs disappeared. Their kingdoms fell. The caravans stopped. The mining camps were abandoned. Without people to maintain them, the desert slowly reclaimed everything. Winds buried the ancient roads beneath layers of sand. Flash floods swept through dry valleys, destroying wells and entrances. Rockfalls sealed tunnels that had once echoed with the sound of miners. Soon, the routes known by generations of Egyptian guides were forgotten. Only a few clues survived. A weathered inscription on a cliff, a broken stone hammer, the ruins of a lonely camp, miles from the nearest source of water. These fragments told archaeologists one important thing. The ancient Egyptians mined far more gold than the surviving mines alone can explain. Some records describe places that have never been identified. Others mention expeditions to locations that no one can find today. Could these be references to mines still hidden beneath the desert? It is a question that has fascinated explorers for generations, because somewhere across the vast deserts of Egypt and Nubia, the greatest lost gold mine may still be waiting beneath the sand. For more than a century, archaeologists have searched the deserts of Egypt and Nubia, not for buried treasure, but for the truth. They followed ancient inscriptions carved into cliffs. They studied forgotten maps. They traced the routes of old caravan roads that had vanished thousands of years ago. Every discovery revealed another piece of the puzzle. Stone hammers, broken pottery, ruined shelters, and abandoned mineshaft confirmed that vast mining operations once existed here. But each answer created a new mystery. Where was the mine that produced the greatest wealth? Ancient Egyptian records speak of enormous quantities of gold, yet no single mine discovered so far fully explains those accounts. Some researchers believe many mining sites remain undiscovered, hidden beneath deep sand, or concealed in remote valleys that few people have explored. Today, modern technology is helping the search. Satellite imagery, drones, and detailed archaeological surveys are revealing features invisible from the ground. Every new expedition carries the same hope, but beyond the next ridge, or beneath the next layer of sand, lies the entrance to a mine, lost for thousands of years. And if that entrance is ever found, it could rewrite what we know about the wealth of ancient Egypt. After centuries of searching, the mystery remains. Many ancient gold mines have been identified, but historians believe they are only part of a much larger network. Ancient records describe enormous gold expeditions, hundreds of workers, long caravans, months spent deep in the desert. Yet some of the places mentioned in those records have never been located with certainty. Did shifting sands bury them? Did earthquakes seal their entrances? Or are they still hidden, waiting for someone to find them? No one knows. That is what makes this mystery so remarkable. Somewhere beneath the deserts once ruled by the pharaohs, there may still be tunnels untouched for thousands of years. Inside them, the tools of ancient miners, their camps, and perhaps even rich veins of gold could remain exactly where they were left behind. Until that day comes, the greatest gold mine in history remains one of archaeology's greatest unsolved mysteries. The desert has kept its secret for more than 4,000 years. The only question now is, who will find it first?